here is your description of the Trump administration. You wrote this piece in Teen Vogue, which I guess you write for.
Oh, which you guess I write for? Yes, that's not fake news. That's real news. I write for, you guess? Oh, you guess, Tucker? You guess? That's really patronizing.
I haven't read Teen Vogue because I'm not a Teen Vogue.
Well, you haven't.
That's not at all what your tweet suggested. In addition to the one that we just read, you put. I think we can put it on the screen.
My tweet didn't talk about the plane at all, actually. So what are you referring to?
Well, it was within the look. Ivanka Trump was in the news because she was screamed out on the airplane, and you say, "Don't let her off the hook." And then you go on to say in another tweet, Ivanka has it all, and by that I mean a job, a family, and sinister complicity in aiding the most aggressively anti-woman candidate of our time.
Yes.
Sinister complicity. She's his daughter. What is that?
She was a surrogate frequently throughout, represented him in terms of women's issues. She had
Isn't she pretty liberal in women's issues?
And she did speeches on his behalf where she represented a platform of women's empowerment. And in terms of having it all, I think she's an incredibly successful, brilliant woman. The fact that she was able to balance him out on these issues where he has talked about defunding Planned Parenthood and being against abortion and these typically liberal women's issues that she sort of is a cushion for, I think we need to investigate those things a little more critically, a little more rigorously, and not be blinded by the fact that she looks like she smells like vanilla.
Okay, she looks like she smells like vanilla. I mean, who's objectifying women here? I wouldn't say that.
Oh my God.
No, I'm actually asking a serious question.
My point is she's a beautiful, gorgeous
I don't care what she
force
looks
of
like
nature.
or smells like. I mean, what exactly do you disagree with her on specifically?
Oh my goodness. I'm saying that she is incredibly welcoming. She is gorgeous and smart. I mean, she's, in a lot of ways, many elements of her persona are admirable and something to look up to is what is a joke.
Okay, but you said that she has sinister complicity in aiding the most.
Yes, I absolutely believe that.
Okay,
I'm not backing down from that at all.
So it's sinister for a daughter to support her father's presidential campaign because you don't like her father?
It's sinister for a daughter to capitalize on the power of feminism and uniting women and empowering women while supporting a candidate who is the most anti-woman candidate this country has seen in decades.
What does that even mean? Like, why don't you tell? I mean, she's anti-woman because he wants to defund Planned Parenthood.
I'm sorry, is that what I said? I think my earpiece might not be working because that is most certainly not what I said.
Okay. She's guilty because he's anti-woman. She's complicit in his, quote, anti-woman positions.
To continue to stump and support his positions.
But it's her dad. I mean, I don't understand. So I guess the point I'm making is you're drawing this kind of world where everyone who's not on your side is evil and is, as you put it, fair game.
That's not what I said.
You said.
Tucker,
you said she's quote fair game even though she smells good.
Tucker, I did not say anybody who disagrees with me is evil.
Then I'm going to ask you again. What do you disagree with that she has said? What position that she holds do you disagree with?
I disagree with her providing a surrogacy for her father based on an empowerment of women when that is an inherent disconnect between his campaign and her beliefs. So you agree with her, but because she supported her dad, she's somehow fair game. I did not say I precisely align with her.
I'm trying to understand what you're saying. What that she believes,
Tucker,
don't you believe?
You're not trying to agree with what I'm saying. You're shouting over me every time I speak. It's incredibly unprofessional.
I'm asking you a simple question.
You're not.
Which is,
you're actually being a partisan hack who is just attacking me ad nauseum and not even allowing me to speak.
Well,
Tucker, I think we agree here. I think we agree here, right?
No, I don't think we do.
We both agree that she didn't deserve to be attacked.
I think it's appalling that some guy yelled at her on an airplane and you're saying she's quote fair game.
I very clearly and calmly said that no one deserves to be yelled at on a plane. I don't want to be yelled at. I don't want to yell at you on a plane. I'll yell at you here, but not on a plane.
You're saying that to me because I'm confronting you about it, but on Twitter, on your Twitter feed where you scream, F you, Donald Trump, eat feces, Donald Trump, all this kind of...
Wait, what?
Well, I can't say the word you used, as you well know. But
I said feces Donald Trump. That's what I said.
You said eat, in effect, human feces on Twitter.
Tucker,
I can't, you know.
Tucker, you are talking at this trivial, mundane level of argument.
Okay.
We're agreeing.
Tucker,
can I ask you a question? Tucker, can
let
I
me
please?
ask you
no,
to
I'd like to
account
ask
for
you a
something
question.
that you wrote.
No, Tucker,
and in Teen
do
Vogue,
you or do you not agree that we deserve, as the American people, a level of transparency in terms of Ivanka's role? I think we need to take her seriously and that she's a positive role model
Look,
and
Lauren,
admirable in a lot of ways, but that she still requires transparency.
She's flying with her kids on an
airplane. In
and
terms of having a government position or being a businesswoman or being a mother.
Okay.
So we do agree.
I agree that anyone who's making decisions about how the federal government runs should have to answer questions about those decisions, okay? I don't think you should hassle people because you disagree with them in public.
And I didn't say you should. So we do. Tucker, hey, we agree.
We agree. Here is your description of the Trump administration. You wrote this piece in Teen Vogue, which I guess you write for.
Oh, which you guess I write for? Yes, that's not fake news. That's real news. I write for, you guess? Oh, you guess, Tucker? You guess? That's really patronizing.
I haven't read Teen Vogue because I'm not a Teen Vogue
reader. Well, you
reader,
have in front of, your producers asked me if I wrote for Teen Vogue. You have my Teen Vogue article in front of you. My name is Lauren Duca, and I write for Teen Vogue.
Well, got it. Here's what you wrote.
Okay.
The road ahead is a treacherous one. There are unprecedented amounts of ugliness to untangle, from deciding whether our president can be an admitted sexual predator to figuring out how to stop him from threatening the sovereignty of an entire religion.
Yes.
What does it mean to threaten the sovereignty of religion? What does that even mean?
That means an entire agenda, a platform based on banning Muslims, which is still available on his website.
How does that threaten the sovereignty of religion? That's moronic, Lauren. You're a writer. How does that threaten the sovereignty of it? Pardon me for taking your words literally.
Sorry, how does what threaten the sovereignty of it? Threatening to ban
Muslims? That threatens the sovereignty of it?
Yes, that completely, that profiles based on the basis of religion and reduces people to their beliefs and dictates what they can and cannot publicly believe.
That doesn't threaten the sovereignty of it. So you also accused him on Chelsea Handler's show of, quote, committing a form of psychological abuse that makes the victim feel like they're crazy. Does Trump make you feel like you're crazy? That's the impression I'm getting.
Oh my God, are you calling me crazy? That's adorable.
I'm asking you, you said on Chelsea Handler, he's committing psychological abuse on you. You believe that?
On the American people. I believe the American people, Trump supporters, Hillary supporters, Jill Stein and her cousin, are a victim of Trump's gaslighting. What I mean by that is that he frequently contradicts objective evidence, not that he is abusing me personally. And I think you're smart enough to know that, aren't you, Tucker?
I don't know. I just take your words at face value. He's
so did you read the entire
article? I did. I also read Liam Payne is 100% certain One Direction will continue. Adriana Grande rocked the most epic thigh-high boots at Jingle Bell, and Black China and Rob Kardashian went through the messiest breakup of 2016. Those are your other pieces. But I'm trying to get to what you're writing about Trump, taking a break from the thigh-high boots, and ask what you mean about him committing psychological abuse on you.
A woman can love Ariana Grande and her thigh-high boots and still discuss
just letting you know that I read you in Teen Vogue as of today.
And those things are not mutually exclusive. You know, now that you bring up Teen Vogue, we treat young women like they don't have a right to a political conversation.
Dumb propaganda,
and like you can't be, enjoy Kylie Jenner's Instagram and worry about the future of this country. And those things are not mutually exclusive. So you know what? I did write about Ariana Grande, and I did write about the abusive, bigoted,
those pieces were a little smarter than your piece about threatening the sovereignty of a whole religion. All right, I got to go. You should stick to the thigh-high boots. You're better at that. Lauren, thanks for joining us. 3,500 shootings last year.
Right.
762 murders. What gun laws would have prevented that?
So Illinois has okay gun laws, okay? So they don't have the best, they don't have the worst. But what they do have is most of their, 60% of their guns that end up in crime come from other states. And those other states, of course, think about Wisconsin, Mississippi, Indiana leads the way there, right? So those guns are coming in from those states with weak gun laws, and they're going across borders, and they're ending up in crime in Chicago. So what we really need to do is to make sure that the evidence-based laws that we think work, background checks, et cetera, that we have them on a national basis, because Illinois is in a
But hold on, I've just heard this argument, but so New York City has seen a dramatic drop in gun crime, right?
Right, and they have great gun laws.
And it's right south of Vermont, which has the laxest gun laws in America. You could get in a car and drive up there. So why isn't that the same?
Well, because first of all, New York New York, first of all, it's the same thing as Illinois, where the crime guns are coming from out of state. But New York lives in a much safer neighborhood, right? So that you have to go quite some distance to get a firearm. You just can't go.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Because like everyone I know in New York has a weekend home in Vermont. Look, the point is, this stuff doesn't work, and it doesn't work.
I think the evidence shows that it works, and that's important.
Then why isn't it working in Chicago? I mean, really, is the real reason it's all the fault of Indiana?
No,
I mean, really?
Let me ask you a question. Do you think we'd be better off in Chicago with more firearms?
It depends. In the hands of whom?
Right.
I would be better off in Chicago with a firearm,
Right.
and yet it's almost impossible for me to get one in Chicago because the laws are so. There are no gun stores in Chicago.
The laws
I have to what if I have to register it as if I'm a criminal?
Actually not. Illinois does not have registration. Illinois has licenses.
The city of Chicago does. Yes, it does. You have to buy a license to have a gun.
Illinois has a license. And what you do is you get a license. Actually, it goes for 10 years.
So I have to ask the permission of the authorities. Look, the only point is, for example, I go onto your website and you say one of the big problems is assault rifles. So of the 762 murders in Chicago, how many were committed with assault rifles?
Well, I don't know that actually that's from my website, but let me tell you.
Well, yeah, it is. Actually, I have it right here.
So let me explain to you about assault weapons. Assault weapons make killing more lethal, okay? So what we have in that situation is assault weapons have more deaths per shooting. They don't necessarily cause more shootings, but when you use an assault weapon in a crime, you end up with more people dead and more rounds
so in
fired.
Chicago, there's 762 murders last year. How many were committed with so-called assault weapons?
Right, but you know what? That's a small issue.
Well, what's the answer?
Well, I don't know.
But you run a gun control group. I mean, and you're pushing for right here, semi-automatic military-style firearms designed for one person to kill people. Right. So we have the city with one of the highest murder rates in the country. Right. And how many were committed with assault weapons?
We reported this morning that another car manufacturer deciding to build here in the United States as opposed to in Mexico, and that comes as a string of others have decided to do the same because of a friendly business climate. However, an outlet like AP, the Associated Press, has articles like this. I got to read a quote from one of their recent articles. It says, "It hits us like a bucket of cold water." He's talking about Mexico here, Mexican workers. It hits them like cold water. The younger generation would be hurt most by cancellations like this. They were already dreaming of going there to that Ford plant that's moving from Mexico to the United States, and at the last minute, there's nothing. Yeah. So you've got fawning stories about the impact on Mexico without as much coverage of how it's going to affect workers here.
They feel sorry for the Mexicans that are losing their jobs to Americans. Yeah. It's just, it reminds me of like the sanctuary cities. Democrats are so worried about protecting the people in sanctuary cities. Meanwhile, what about the Americans that have the right to be here, like Kate Steinle, who was killed by one of these? It's just like the wrong narrative, the wrong focus here.
Well, of course. I'm glad they're finally admitting that there are losers in trade deals, though, that not everybody wins. I mean, look, we've had NAFTA for almost 25 years. You haven't seen 25 years of continuous coverage of the effect on American manufacturing because of NAFTA or any of our trade deals, right? At all. That's all sort of been ignored, and we've been told sort of endlessly this propaganda that we're all winning from this. Everybody's a beneficiary. And that's just a lie. I mean, you could argue that maybe NAFTA was worth it, but you can't pretend that there was no cost to Americans because there was, of course, and the press has ignored that. So for them to say, well, oh my gosh, all of a sudden we're discovering that there's a downside to a trade arrangement and Mexico is being hurt, I mean, it really is a parody.